Good morning, Wareham. Thar she blows. We're going to be we're going to read about whaling today. And say hi, Connor.
Hello.
Congratulations on your brown belt, your black stripe today.
Thank you.
Good job.
For karate?
Yeah. For karate, yeah. All right, so this is all about whaling. And, Wareham was involved in it, but especially New Bedford and Nantucket, the biggest whaling places in the world. So we're going to learn about that. Think of the most dangerous, scary amusement park ride you've ever heard about. What was your scariest ride you've been on?
Probably at Hershey Park.
Hershey Park had some.
What was it?
Scrambler or something?
No, it was like a one in.
Yeah, that was crazy. The one that went straight up and down. Yeah. I can't remember the name.
It was like orange.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Forget. Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit, you're right. Whatever it is lame or tame compared to a Nantucket sleigh ride. That sleigh ride was probably the wildest ride the world has ever known. Some men rode it willingly. Some said they looked forward to it. Some did it because they got paid for the ride. Those men were very brave, very foolhardy, or maybe both. What is the Nantucket sleigh ride? Well, it has nothing to do with snow and everything to do with whaling. Hold on, I'll explain. But first, let's talk about the biggest creatures ever hunted, whales. Think about an extra large school bus. That's about the size of a sperm whale. It can weigh as much as 60 tons. Blue whales are even larger. They can be 90 feet long. Whales are animals, warm-blooded animals, that nurse their young and swim like fish. But unlike fish, they need to breathe air. And that is why they come to the water's surface regularly. The sperm whale is a ferocious fighter with a huge jaw full of teeth. Sperm whales migrate great distances, although they prefer the warm waters near the equator. Right or baleen whales have big, smooth mouths and tiny throats instead of teeth. They have long plastic-like strips of baleen. The baleen lets water flow out of the whale's mouth, but holds tiny plants, fish, and animals, called plankton, inside. Right whales are pleasant creatures, usually found in cold water. All whales have a thick layer of fat called blubber under their skins. That blubber can be melted down and turned into oil. If you dip a wick in whale oil and light the wick, you can read by the light it gives. During the first half of the 19th century, until kerosene won the day, whale oil lit American homes and streets. The sperm whale has a tank in its head filled with a liquid wax called spermaceti. Spermaceti makes fine quality candles. Some sperm whales have a bacterial substance in their intestines called, I can't read that. What was that? Ambrosia?
Or
I can't say ambergris. I have a feeling it's ambergris. Is prized by perfume makers. Flexible whalebone, the baleen, can be used for things like buggy whips and women's corsets. The sperm whale's ivory teeth can be carved and made into decorative items. Because of all these uses, whales were very valuable creatures, especially in the days before electricity and plastics. The Puritans knew that. They sometimes found a whale washed up on shore. They boiled its blubber and used the oil. Then the settlers on Nantucket Island, noticed that the Indians went out into small boats and harpooned whales near the shore. So they did that too. In 1712, Christopher Hussey, a Nantucket fishing captain, got carried out to sea by a storm. Hussey was lucky. He encountered a sperm whale, harpooned it, and towed it into shore. That was the beginning of the big-time American whaling industry. At first, the whalers stuck close to New England, hauled the giant sea creatures to their home ports, and processed them on land. Then someone figured out that a hot fire could be safely kindled on a wooden ship in a brick oven surrounded by water. That meant the whale blubber was boiled in enormous iron kettles and turned into oil right on the whaler. Now ships could sail to distant oceans and stay at sea for 3 or 4 years until their holds were filled with barrels of whale oil. The whale oil became a kind of liquid gold. By 1846, more than 700 New England whaling ships were at sea, and New Bedford, Massachusetts, had become the capital of the whaling industry. The best whaling grounds were found in the Pacific Ocean, so that was where the whalers went. For a boy from New England to be a whaler meant seeing the Arctic, the Antarctic, New Zealand, Japan, Guam, or the Hawaiian Islands. When those boys came home, it was with tales of adventure they would tell for the rest of their lives. The officers of the whaler were usually, but not always, New Englanders of British descent. The crew was likely to be a mix of daring seamen, Native Americans, Portuguese, blacks, and Pacific Islanders. Sometimes women and children were on board ship. It was not unusual for the captain to have his family with him. The crew liked the idea. Food and conditions were usually better with women along. How do you catch a whale? First, you have to find one. Sometimes whalers go for weeks without spotting the towering waterspout. That means a giant creature has come from the deep to breathe. There you are, lazy and bored, when all of a sudden the lookout high on the ship mast calls out, "There she blows!" Then you see, off in the distance, the Goliaths of the ocean. Into a small whaling boat you jump, 6 men to a boat. The mate in back calls out, "Roar and pull, my thunderbolts! Lay me on! Lay me on!" You pull the oar as hard as you can. Then as you approach the behemoth, all becomes quiet. The mate whispers. You row silently. The harpooner standing in the front of the whaleboat is poised and ready. You need to get very close. That iron harpoon cannot be thrown far. There it goes! It is a hit! Deep in the whale's back, blood spurts high. A long coiled rope is attached to the harpoon and anchored in your boat. Now the enraged whale takes off, trying to rid itself of the awful knife in its back. The rope plays out like any fishing line, but so fast someone must throw water on it to keep it from burning. The whale seems to be flying over and through the waves. You hang on and hold your breath. Now he is diving. If he goes too deep, your boat will capsize. If he decides to turn around and attack, he can easily destroy your boat. Some sperm whales have been known to dive, come up under a boat, and toss it 20 feet into the air. None of those things happen on this day. But the whale does not tire easily. He pulls your boat and its 6 men around for almost an hour. This may be the world's riskiest profession. Finally, the great mammoth is exhausted. The mate spears him. The bloody deed is done. Your back to the ship dragging the huge carcass.
Yeah.
This has been your first Nantucket sleigh ride. But now there's no time to rest or think. The whale is strapped to the side of the ship. The blubber will be cut off in thick strips. It needs to be done quickly. Sharks surround the ship. Yours isn't the only whale caught today. 4 whaleboats have lowered. 4 whales were harpooned. 3 were captured. 1 got away. All men are safe. The crew works frantically. The blubber soon stinks in the tropical heat. Huge kettles are set to boiling. The blubber will be cut in pieces, boiled, skimmed, and strained. The process is called trying. It produces clean, clear whale oil. The whale meat is wasted, thrown to the sharks. The whales' heads are brought on deck to remove the spermaceti and the ivory teeth. Oil and blood are everywhere. If you're not careful, you can slip and fall overboard. If the crew is not careful, the oil will catch fire and the wooden ship will be doomed. But all goes well. When you return to New England, you and all the crew will share the profits. You will have money in your pocket. That is the reason for whaling. It is a business. It is all these things: brutal, destructive, useful, profitable, wasteful, and exciting. Whalers are as courageous as any man anywhere. But few people in the 19th century worry that a species is being destroyed, like the buffalo. The very existence of the whale is being destroyed. All right. There she blows!